Hi everyone. This video in the RGO 2020 Quick Start Guide video series is intended for grant consultants. We want to stress some key differences in using the new system from the original RGO system. One of the primary differences in the new system is that grant applications will have to be initiated by a sponsor organization before you can begin working on them. So in this video, what we're going to cover is how you can see the resources for the 2020 grants, then how you can create an account in the new system, how you'll log in and see the tasks that are available to you, and there are other videos in this series that cover how a sponsor can add you to the application so that you can work on it. But to begin with, we'll want to know how to find the RGO 2020 grant management system. And to access it, what we'll do is we'll come find a Google search, type TPWD, REC grants, and this will lead us to the Recreation Grants webpage on the Texas Parks and Wildlife website. From here, we have a link to apply, manage. Now, this is not going to be live until September the 16th, but when it is live and you click this link, you're going to bring up a page very similar to this one. It's going to have a link to our existing grant management system, which is original RGO. If you're assisting sponsor organizations with grants that they already have, you'll need to continue to use that system to get to those grants. But to apply for 2020 grants, you'll need to access our new system. You'll do that by clicking the link that says click here to access RGO 2020, and you'll be directed to the RGO 2020 login page. Once you're here, there are a few different options for you. Number one, before you even create an account, there'll be this resources tab that you can click on, and this is just the demo system, but once the system is live, there'll be sample versions of the 2020 applications and resources associated with those applications that you'll need to have references to in order to complete. This will let you prepare and understand what information will be required in the applications so that you can begin assembling the resources necessary to complete the grant applications. Once you are ready to apply for an account in the system, you'll be on the system login page here, and you'll click the option that says New User. All right. At this point, you're going to fill in the information for your new user. Now, when you get down to the username field, this is the username that you'll need to have ready to log into the system, and it has to be unique. In the old system, your email address had to be unique, but in the new system, you can tie your email address to multiple accounts, but this particular account must be unique. So we're just going to create one called Grant Consultant 2020 for this example. We're going to create a password. And we're going to get to the part of the registration process where we have some very specific instructions. For the organization, okay, when we click on the pull down for organization, we're going to select grant consultants, all right? And for the role, we're going to select sponsor staff, okay? Now, later on, someone may be able to add you to a grant application in a role of sponsor administrator for that application. That will allow you to submit the application or withdraw the application or add additional people to the application. But for now, in this part of the process, you're going to register in our system as a sponsor staff member in the Grant Consultants organization. When you come down here to the Use the Organization's Contact Information area, you're going to select No, and then you're going to put in the unique information for your organization. You have a phone number here. Okay, at this point, I have completed all of the required fields here, and what I'll do is I'll click Save. An email will then be sent to you confirming that you've applied to register for the RGO 2020 grant management system. And at that point, the system administrator for recreation grants will receive an email on your behalf that says you want to join the grant consultants organization. So we're going to skip ahead just a little bit. I've already created another user and approved that user, but we're going to jump ahead, and at this point we'll assume that you've gotten an email confirming that you are approved to have a user account in the system. So previously I had applied for one called Consultant 99. Okay, entered the password there wrong a few times. Once I've entered the password correctly, the first time I log into the system is going to require me to change my password. But before that, there are a couple of things that I can affect in my user profile. One is my display name, right? So my name is Grant, of Grant Consultant, so I'm gonna put that there. In my organization area, I want to be sure that it says Grant Consultants. Now, unfortunately, because the system has not fully been configured, I'm going to have to type that information in. I won't be able to select it from a pull down. But the good news is it's not actually tied to this organization. It's just a field that we have to type in. All right. For my title here, I can put whatever I like, and I can adjust any of the fields that I originally entered that are not correct or that have been changed since I signed up. Now I'll have to come down and create a password that I'll use going forward. Once I'm finished and I've got all required fields filled in here, I'm going to click Save. And at that point, once I see this notification that my information has been saved, my account's been created, and the password that I made for myself has now been updated. From here, I can click my home screen, and this is the area where all of my tasks will appear. Now you'll notice right now there isn't really anything for me to do, and that's because currently a sponsor organization has not added me to their application. So in just a moment, I'm going to go through the steps that are contained in Section 5 of the Quick Start series for how a sponsor organization can add other users to the application, and I'm going to add this particular grant consultant to an application. And in just a moment, we'll come back to the screen and you'll see how it's changed. And we took a brief moment away there, and while we were away, I went into a grant application as a sponsor administrator, and I added our Consultant 99 to an application. So previously we were logged into our home page, but there was nothing to do because no one had added us to anything. Now the sponsor has followed the steps in Section 5 of the Quick Start Guide for adding a grant consultant to the application. So now that consultant can log into the system and begin working on the application. Okay, so at this stage, we'll log in using our Consultant 99 credentials that we created before. And there's a new area in the screen that we see here. It says My Tasks. Okay, now if I choose to open tasks, everything that I have to do in the Grants Online, the RGO 2020 system, is listed here. I could be consulting on 10 applications and they'd all be listed here as long as I had an action item to complete on them. All right, so at this point, I would simply click on the application and I'd have access to all of the forms here. All right, Now, it's important that you know what role the sponsor has added you to this application in, okay? In this example, I've been added as in the role of sponsor staff. In the sponsor staff role, I can open any of the items in the application and I can save them. I can complete the information. Is this the primary grant management contact? Save. Once I've saved a document in this application, a form, correctly, I have this area that says page information. There's a green light here. If I go back to the forms menu, the icons here indicate to me that these two forms have been opened and saved appropriately. These have not been opened. So if I open one of these and I start entering information, in this case it's the city of Sampleville ballpark. And let's say I've got a little bit of information here, but as I look through this, I'm going to need more. I've got to find the site plan document and the aerial map. That's no problem. I'm going to come back to this form, but for now I'm going to click Save. And I'm going to get an error. The error means that before I can submit this as an application, I have to clear these things up. I have to fill in all of the required fields on this document that I've not yet filled in. But when I go back to the Forms menu, I can see the items that I've completed, the items that I have not started, and the items that I have saved and yet not provided all of the information for. Okay? Now, if I'm logged in as sponsor staff to this application, I cannot submit it. Up here in status changes, you'll note there isn't anything that I can change it to. I'll just have to let the sponsor know when I've completed the application, and they'll have to log in as a sponsor administrator for this grant application in order to submit it. Alternatively, they may add you as a sponsor administrator to this application. In that case, you would see the option once all of these forms are saved and completed with no errors. They would all have icons next to them like this, and you could come up here to status change, and then you'd have the option to apply. You can look in the Quick Start guide video series for information about how to submit a grant application, how to edit and save the pages, those kinds of things. But this is just meant to get you started in the new system as a grant consultant.